Okay, welcome to 7.3, obtaining all the transformations in g of x equals plus or minus a, x minus h squared plus k. First thing we look at is the h and the k. They form your vertex. So that's first thing I look at when I'm given a problem is, yeah, I can figure out this graph because there's my hk. Go ahead and move it over here. Now normally on our parent function, remember it was at 0, 0, then you go over 1, up 1. But we have a stretch of 2. So all I do from here is I go over 1, up 2. Over 1, up 2. Then I go over 2, normally it would be up 4, but because of that stretch, I'd go 4 times 2, I'd go up 8. And I have my new graph. The domain, again, all real numbers. The range, as I told you in class, I want to start stretching you to showing it in other ways. So you could put y is greater than or equal to 1. However, I want to get you ready for Algebra 2. So I just want to take us to the lowest limit, being 1. We just put a bracket around there showing that it can be equal to it. And then our upper limit being infinity, show the infinity sign, and a parenthesis because you can never be equal to infinity. It's not a value. Okay, so here we go again. They want us to graph this. First thing, there's our vertex. 1, negative 2. Now there's a mistake here. Remember, the minus is in the equation, so that's actually a minus 1. You always need to switch your h value, just like we did in this one. It was a negative 3, it went to positive 3. So negative 1, negative 2. So we go over negative 1 down to negative 2. That's our vertex. Now normally we would go over 1, up 1. But this happens to be a reflection, so we might think over 1, down 1, but it's a stretch of 3, so over 1, down 3, quite a stretch. And that would be enough points for me to know that you were graphing it correctly. Our domain, again, is all real numbers. Writing it in the interval notation, it would be at negative infinity, positive infinity. Now, because that one's quicker and easier to write all real numbers, I'm fine if you keep doing that. On our range, though, our highest point is at negative 2. I'd really like to see you do interval notation, negative infinity, because that's our unlimited, and our upper limit is negative 2, and it's equal. We're a little bit lost. We're just saying y is less than or equal to negative 2. Double check that. It's our k value. Less than, it's a negative, it's a reflection. So we know we're good. Writing a function from real world. These are kind of fun. There's a painter up on a wall, and he drops this paintbrush off this wall. Actually, when things drop, they do follow the shape of a parabola. Okay? So we know in 1 second it was at 14 feet. Somebody's looking out a window and they took an instant camera shot of it. They know it was at 1 second, it was 14 feet. We don't know how many seconds it took for it to hit the ground. That's what we're looking for because t is seconds, and that's the unknown in here. So let's see what we can fill in. First, we know the vertex, because that would be the maximum point. So we know that it was 0 on the h, and that it is at a positive 30 feet. Let's fill in the rest of this. T. Now a, I'm just not certain of. I do know that it's a negative. I could go ahead and put it in. I'll have to be cautious of that. Actually, I won't put it in. It'll solve for the negative, I believe. And ft. So you might say, well, that didn't get us real far. No, but it got us far enough to realize we either need to know the a or a t and an ft. right here, we know a t and a f of t. So we can plug those in. That's why they gave them to us. Always look at a problem and ask, why would they give me that? 14 equals a times 1 minus 0 squared plus 30. If you're guessing, hey, we're solving for a, you're exactly right. So 1 minus 0 is 1, 1 squared, that's a times 1 plus 30 equals 14. So we subtract 30 from each side. We get negative 16 equals a times 1. Okay, so that tells us that 1a is equal to negative 16. Now we can write our function rule. F of t equals negative 16 t. We don't really need to put in the 0. In fact, we can just make it t squared plus 30. Now, if we want to solve for when it hits the ground, then we could say, well, f of t we know will be at 0. Because f of t is the feet off the ground. Negative 16 t squared plus 30. We'll know how many seconds it hit in, minus 30, so that's a minus 30 equals negative 16 t squared. Now we need to divide by negative 16. Negative 30 divided by negative 16, don't have my calculator, 32 would be 2 seconds, so it's probably about, let's go 1.8 equals t squared. Now we still need to take the square root, plus or minus. So we get t, we don't want to know negative t, and we would get roughly, well, if that was 16, it would be 4.4. So we would get roughly, gosh, it's going to be, I'm not sure without my calculator, I'm going to guess like a 1.3 plus or minus. Now the important point here is I want to point out it wouldn't be a minus for seconds, so be a positive for seconds. Okay? So come by and see me or ask in class. If this one creates any headache, write down exactly where you get lost. Okay? And we'll see you in class.